So we are going to discuss about duodenum and the visceral relations. So we begin with first part. Duodenum has 4 parts, as you all know. So we are going to study the first part of duodenum. Anteriorly, the first part is related to quadrate lobe of liver and gallbladder. So these two are the structures that are related to the first part of duodenum anteriorly. First is quadrate lobe of liver and gallbladder. Posteriorly, now the posterior relation is first is gastroduodenal artery, then bile duct, and last is portal vein. These three we have to remember. So there is one artery, one vein, and one duct. Now, superiorly, it is related to epiploic foramen. Inferiorly, to head and neck of pancreas. So this was the visceral relation of first part of duodenum, and you can see this in the diagram. This is quadrate lobe of liver. So it lies somewhat here. It is not drawn properly. The quadrate lobe is somewhat here, and it's anteriorly covered the first part of duodenum. Now, there is gallbladder in the quadrate inferior, in liver, in the inferior surface of liver, there lies gallbladder. So the quadrate lobe and gallbladder are somewhat near. So both the structures lie anteriorly. Now posteriorly, you can see this is bile duct. This is common hepatic artery, which gives two branch. One is proper hepatic artery and other is gastroduodenal artery. So near the duodenum, you can see that there is gastroduodenal artery posteriorly. So bile duct, gastroduodenal artery, and portal vein. These three lie posteriorly. Inferiorly, there is head and neck of pancreas, which is not shown over here, but inferiorly the head and neck of pancreas lie, and superiorly there is a epiploic foramen. So these are the visceral relation of first part. And you can see the posterior relation as well. See, this is celiac trunk, this is common hepatic artery, and from common hepatic artery we have proper hepatic artery and gastroduodenal artery, which lies near the first part of duodenum in the posterior relation. So the duodenum lies in the L1, L2, and L3 segments of vertebra. So that's it. That was all about first part. In the second part, we can see that here the anterior relation is different. The second part anteriorly is related to the right lobe of liver, transverse colon, root of transverse mesocolon, because there is transverse colon, so then there must be mesentery, that is transverse meso, and then small intestine. So this is the interior relationship: right lobe of liver, transverse colon, transverse mesocolon, and small intestine. Posteriorly, it is related to anterior surface of right kidney, right renal vessels, right edge of inferior vena cava, right psoas major. Medially, it is related to head of the pancreas and bile duct. Laterally, it is related to right colic flexure. So we can see this in the diagram. This is the anterior, this diagram of anterior portion. So this is liver, and the second part of duodenum. This is duodenum. This was the first part. This is the second part. So the second part of duodenum is covered anteriorly by the right lobe of liver, and this is transverse colon. Anteriorly, it is covered by transverse colon, and here is transverse colon. So there must be a mesocolon connecting it to the other structures, a layer of peritoneum, so root of mesentery anteriorly, and then small intestine, because small intestine arises from duodenum only. So the loop of small intestine also come in the anterior relation of the second part. The posteriorly you can see the posterior relation is, this is the second part of duodenum, and the second part is posteriorly covered by anterior surface of right kidney. This is right kidney. This is anterior surface of right kidney. Then right renal vessel. This is right renal vessel, which is going into the right kidney. So right renal vessel. Then above you can see here is inferior vena cava, and this is the right edge of inferior vena cava, because this is left edge of inferior vena cava. This is right edge of inferior vena cava. This is psoas major muscle. This is this is the psoas major muscle of right side. Medially, it is related to the head of pancreas and bile duct. Laterally, it is related to the right colic flexure. So in the third part, the anterior relation is like, anteriorly it is related to superior mesenteric vessels, root of mesentery. Posteriorly, it is related to the right ureter, right psoas major, right testicular or ovarian vessels, we can say that gonadal vessels, and then inferior vena cava, abdominal aorta with origin of inferior mesenteric artery. Superiorly, it is related to head of pancreas with uncinate process. Inferiorly, coils of jejunum. So we can see this in the diagram. This is the anterior relation. This is the third part of duodenum. So it is related to superior mesenteric vessels, the artery and vein, superior mesenteric vessels, and then root of mesentery. This is root of mesentery. It is the peritoneum around the duodenum. Posteriorly, it is related to, posteriorly you can see it is related to right ureter. This is right ureter. Then right psoas major muscle, right testicular or ovarian vessels. So in the third part, we have two structures in anterior, you can see, that is superior mesenteric vessel and root of mesentery. In the second part, we have already discussed that there was transverse colon and root of transverse mesocolon. So they are supplied from here. Some vessels go and supply the root of mesentery. So in the third part, there is superior mesenteric vessel, which lies anterior to the third part, and then root of mesentery. Posteriorly, there is right ureter. There is right ureter. Then there is right psoas major muscle. Then there are right gonadal arteries and veins, so gonadal vessels you can say. Then there is inferior vena cava and abdominal aorta, and in abdominal aorta we can be precise with saying that in abdominal aorta there is inferior mesenteric vessel which lies posterior to the third part of duodenum. Now in the inferior and superior relationship, in superiorly you can see it is related to the head of pancreas and uncinate process. Now inferiorly it is related to coil of jejunum. I can show you this, the diagram. This is the duodenum, first part, second part, third part, and fourth part. And this is pancreas. So pancreas lies in this sheath-shaped structure like this. So first part is related inferiorly, second part medially, and third part is superiorly related to it. So this was all about the third part. Now we are going to discuss about the fourth part of duodenum. So in the fourth part, we have to remember all the relations. It has anterior relation, posterior relation, and the right relation and left relation, and also the superior relation. Anteriorly, the fourth part of the duodenum is related to transverse colon and transverse mesocolon, lesser sac, and stomach. So these are the four anterior relation of fourth part. Posteriorly, it is related to left sympathetic chain, left renal artery, left gonadal artery, inferior mesenteric vein. The right relation is the attachment of upper part of root of mesentery. Now in the left we have left kidney and left ureter. Superiorly, it is related to the body of pancreas. So you can have a look in the posterior relation of the fourth part of duodenum. This is the fourth part of duodenum. It is related posteriorly to the left sympathetic trunk. Then we have left renal artery, then inferior mesenteric vein, and left gonadal artery. So these are the four posterior relations. It is related in the right by attachment of upper part of root of mesentery, to the left by left kidney and left ureter, and superiorly by body of pancreas.